Welcome back to the SimTech podcast, the show where we dive into the world of clinical simulation, exploring the latest innovations, technologies, and the people driving them forward. I'm your host, Craig, and in this episode, we're talking to George from VRTUS Tech, a company at the forefront of virtual reality solutions for healthcare training. We'll be exploring how VRTUS Tech is using VR to enhance simulation-based education, improve learner engagement, and tackle some of the biggest challenges in medical training. From realistic patient scenarios to hands-on virtual environments, George will be giving us a look inside how this technology is shaping the future of healthcare simulation. So whether you're a SimTech, educator, or just someone fascinated by the role of VR in healthcare, stick around. This is one you won't want to miss. Hello and welcome to another episode at the SimTech podcast. Today we are doing our Supplier showcase, and to help me to do that I have brought along George. Good morning, George. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Busy day. Had quite a lot of podcasts booked in today. I work in a sim centre, and today is a non-sim day, so it's kind of one of our admin days. And through that, I'm just booking in all these podcasts. Chock a block. So I've got a little bit of work to do later on with all the editing and stuff.
I could imagine the editing is going to be a load of fun.
Yeah, well, it was a bit of a learning curve because audio's always been my worst thing. I never had any audio training, so I'm learning as I go. But we're getting there, aren't we? So, George, you want to give yourself a little bit, a corporate introduction? Tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, of course. So my name is George Beld. I'm the CEO and co-founder of VRTUS Tech. VRTUS Tech is a no-code virtuality platform that enables organizations and healthcare institutions to build their own immersive simulations, and they can then deploy that out onto any device, including VR, desktop, laptop, immersive walls, and tablets. VRTUS Tech was founded in 2018, whilst I was studying at university. Me and my co-founder sort of came up with the idea in using this sort of technology, and we're sort of rolling it out. We're based out in Cardiff, so there's a nice little co-working space here in Wales. It's called Tramshed Tech, where I have an office and a team of 5, and we serve an array of different customers, from medical devices to healthcare simulation to insurance and so forth.
And what was you doing in uni?
So I was doing business management, so I was doing more of the business side of it. My co-founder, Robin Davies, he was the software engineer, so he was studying that. So we were actually roommates. So when we came together.
How did you get to the idea of what you wanted to do?
So I had a lot of friends in medical. So a lot of them were studying medicine at Cardiff University, and a lot of them kind of came across the same situation where they were feeling that you can never get as much of an immersive engagement from a clinical placement or from a clinical aspect of learning, for example, an organ that's going to be is 3D in three-dimensional, and you kind of get the feeling that when they get given books to look at from a 2D perspective and how you would then analyze that, they felt that there could be so much more that could be done for the learning side of it. So back in 2018, I came up with the idea during my sort of time at university, where I kind of saw, how can we take immersive learning and really enhance it within education and studying in the clinical profession? So yeah, that's what happened. I kind of came up with the idea when I was at uni, taking it on board all these problems that my friends had, and then basically went for it.
I mean, what always drags me into the mud when I think of these ideas is, in 2018 we was in a very different world, weren't we? And your idea in 2018, how does it look now, having that idea? Is this what you envisioned?
To be honest with you, I never knew that like VR would have taken off as much as it has, or immersive learning has taken off as much as it has. When I was in 2018 and I was still a student, and as I was trying to do my market research and speaking with organizations and companies and even universities at that point, none of them ever believed in VR. It was a 1960s creation, and they were like, it's dead. It'll never be anything. That was literally the words I had from individuals. And to sit here and see how much of a community immersive learning and VR has, it's just mind-boggling from
Yeah.
what an idea I had.
I mean, I still speak to people who think it's maybe still a little bit gimmicky. You know, it's fun to play with, but is that where it ends? Is it after that? You know, you've had a little go. You know, is that it? What next is generally their impression.
I think it just depends on the content that they've got, that they've been using, and how the medical schools or the institutions or the NHS trusts who are building simulations, how they're actually building it and how they're deploying it and how they're actually presenting it as well to those who are either in training or in education, and how they can then engage with stuff. There's so many VR companies out there nowadays. It's quite amazing to see, again, with the technology that's being adopted and healthcare being the predominant place for it to be adopted. A lot of people are starting to get more and more used to using this technology on a more regular basis, instead of just picking it up the once and then going, it was okay, sort of thing, and then moving forward.
For people that haven't heard of VRTUS Tech, how would you describe it to them? For like they're an alien. How would you describe what you do?
So our customers in the healthcare space has called us, like, we are the PowerPoint of VR, or the Canva of VR, whichever one you want to go with. We can tell whichever
Ooh,
one
I do
people.
like a good Canva. You know.
That's what I mean. I mean, everyone loves a good Canva, which is very creative and things. You can really tell those who are still stuck in PowerPoint and those who are just slowly migrating across to Canva.
Yeah.
But that was the slogan that we kind of got in terms of VRTUS Tech's offering, which is, we are the PowerPoint of VR, or the Canva of VR, where you can build simulations as easily as building a presentation.
What makes you different? What makes you different from things like Scenario VR, ThingLink, 3D Vista? Are you in the same kind of ballpark? Are you doing the same thing? What makes you different?
So we are very much in the same area as those guys, and they are kind of a competitor of ours. The one thing that kind of draws people towards us and converts people from their services to our services is a number of one of two things, really. It's how simple it is to use our platform. It is essentially, we have a drag and drop simulation, where you can upload your own media and content into it, and you just simply drag and drop it straight into the canvas. And then dropping that straight into the canvas means then you can then design it and deploy it out the way you want to. We're also completely device agnostic, and we make that process extremely simple, in terms of deploying it to students and to healthcare providers. We very much have a way and a philosophy where any customer we work with them very closely. We're not like an organization that basically, here's the subscription to the platform, off you go. We have it within our subscription tier that if you, in fact, have a feature you would like to incorporate, we would actually put that into our roadmap, and we don't do that at an extra cost.
Yeah, and you also mentioned that you're no code. What does that mean?
So the no code is essentially like the drag and drop simulation side of things. So you can upload your own media into it, 3D models, 360 media, 2D images, 2D videos, and you can just simply just drag and drop it within the canvas, kind of like a PowerPoint or a Canva, if you like, building presentations. No code is required. You don't need a technical background. The design of it is so that the simulation technicians aren't the only ones who can use this tool. It can be used by the clinical lecturers. It can be used by doctors, nurses, anyone across the departments. So we tried to make it as multidisciplinary as possible and making it that simple.
Well, it's nice to know that, clinicians can, well, almost you're talking me out of a job a little bit, you're saying, "Oh, you don't need techs anymore, don't worry about it, you can do it all yourself." But it's nice actually to have a bit more spare time if they can go away and create their own stuff. Because some of the things that we struggle with is them trying to explain their vision to people, via email, when actually if you could just maybe send them, a hyperlink, well, can you do things like that? Can you collaborate on maybe the same project through like a workspace and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So we do all of the LMS integration side of things so that everything is all neatly, collaboratively in one place for different departments that want to get together and build a scenario. The understanding of the platform is you can build a limited amount of scenarios. There's no limit on that side of things within sort of our subscription tiered model. We very much encourage that, for example, very much like sort of touching what you just explained about technicians get a email from a department of a lecturer or a clinical lead, and they want to build something, and obviously the backlog can build up quite quickly. It's a bit like, well, actually, you can make a start as a technician and then pass it over to the individual that is wanting this simulation, and they can then make their own changes and add stuff, because they might look at it and go, actually, do you know what, I want a little bit of a different route down this particular procedure that I'm going down. Again, there's also the fact that you have got your own learning methods and teaching methods that you will be giving to students as well as to trainees. So again, making it bespokely designed by that individual, but they can easily collaborate across the platform through the learning management system that you would integrate with.
Yeah, and you said it's device agnostic, so you can use this on your computer or VR headset or your phone, those kind of things.
Yes, yep. So completely device agnostic. You can basically create your scenario, and then you can just deploy that out straight away into any preferable device that you want to. So within the platform, we have a little preview mode as well to show you what it would look like for the students. And that also applies for the immersive walls. It also applies for the VR headset side of it. Again, it is a simple click of a button and it's deployed out to the students through the LMS.
Wow, so it can be worked on like immersive backgrounds as well. So companies like Generate or Immersive, they allow it to go into their kind of things, and you can touch the walls, those, and you interact with whatever scenarios you create.
Yeah, so the whole idea in terms of the immersive space, which is the immersive walls, which are obviously a very highly growing space at the moment. Everybody is really highly investing in this in-person teaching across the whole of the country and internationally, actually. The content side of it is where it kind of comes in. Content is definitely the key factor for organizations and institutions on how they can just have a library of content that they can actually do themselves and deploy it onto the walls. You can then make it interactive on those walls, and you can make live changes onto the walls as well. So if you're having an in-person session with a cohort of students, you can actually then update through the creator platform of our authoring tool. You can make changes and updates, and then that basically allows the walls to then update as well. So you could have students live interactions that, testing them throughout the way.
Yeah. So could I, for instance, create a scenario in one place and then send a link to a participant who's at home, where they could work on it in their own time, and go through whatever I've created for them? And would they be able to do that, or do they have to be in the same building?
No. It's very much remote in terms of you can have it either or. You just send them. So we've just introduced a new feature of sharing a link to somebody so they don't have any login details. So this is if you would like to just have students to engage with it straight away. The downside of that is we have got a data mode. So our platform DigiSim comes under 3 separate modes. Creator mode, which is the authoring tool of the institution, building the simulations, building that content. Then we have got the viewer mode, which is essentially for the students to engage with, and they can then engage that through whichever device that they preferably want, or depending on the device that the scenario has been designed for. And then we have a data mode, and the data mode tracks how the students have interacted with the simulation, gives them also the ability of understanding on what feedback has been given to the students or via the students. So when I mean that, I mean in the creator platform, we have an ability where a student can actually type in or speak in their answer into the platform on the viewer mode. And then that's piped into the data mode, meaning that the clinicians can then review how that student has responded to, well, why have you administrated this particular drug to this patient? What would the next process be? And you can review that. With the link that we've got, if you're going to be sending out, it's very difficult to try and track that individual. The only ways that you can do the data mode tracking is through the learning management system, because that just naturally has all the anonymized student data in, for example, the ID of that student.
With the boom of AI that we're seeing at the moment, is there any plans to incorporate AI into the platform?
Yes, 100%. So we've already incorporated a 360 image generator, so that you can type a prompt in and it will generate you a 360 image. That at the moment is becoming more and more popular, as we're finding out from our customer base on how we can do that. Because again, content, it's very much you record your simulations using 360 media, and you can then upload that into our platform and then start running with it. We are very shortly and very soon going to be deploying out a version of our creator mode, which is a 3D creator mode. So it's a full-on 3D version, again with the same understanding and idea that technicians aren't going to be the only ones who need to be needed, for example, fully. It can be so simple to use that clinicians all over the departments and in any department can utilize this. And so we'll be incorporating AI models into that. So sort of the speech to text side of things, and how you can have avatars respond in particular ways.
I mean, I think we've all probably had an experience with AI image generators, and they can be a little bit wacky sometimes, can't they? Is it kind of the same situation with 360 imagery, or is it because it's kind of an environment or a background? Is it a little bit simpler?
It's a little bit simpler from our perspective, because our perspective is that we've got a data room that has all this data that it will go off to build the scenario or build the 360 image. So the accuracy is a little bit better on that side of things. Having said that, it's the same with AI across the whole board, especially when you use like DALI, or you look at using any other sort of product. It's very hard to contain the AI, because of the fact that it will come out with some random stuff, and you can obviously get some random stuff unless you really kind of. The question is is it really AI then, if you have to contain it so much? If it's like I'm putting the prompt in myself, and to say that this is exactly what it is, go off the basis of another thing. Again, AI is very much off the cusp of it can already do it straight away without having that data needed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Can you give us any examples of how your platform's being used within healthcare or simulation at the moment?
Yeah, so we have it at the moment where it's being utilized in various different departments across medical schools and NHS trusts. We've seen many trusts use it for example, like delirium or sepsis. So they're creating scenarios through that where they've recorded simulations. We've even had it from a clinical skills perspective. So University of South Wales have done a mental health clinical soft skills simulation for their students. So how would you handle a individual who suffers from mental health, which is obviously a growing concern across the UK when it comes to this, and how would they expose medical staff on delivering either bad news or supporting those with mental health issues. So they've utilized one of their facilities where they have a student who is acting out as someone who suffers from mental health. And how would you respond to them? How would you talk? What's your tone of voice being? Everything like that.
Yeah, so when you're talking about a scenario, just so we can paint a picture to people listening, you record something in maybe 360 or 2D, and then it kind of has like a pause moment, and then is there some kind of hotspots with like a multiple choice of how you either want to respond or what you want to do next?
Yeah, very much so. So it's you would record the 360 because we're seeing an increasing amount of institutions that are investing quite heavily in their media side. So they will go out and record a simulation like they normally would, doing the clinical placement or practice, for example, with students. Put the 360 camera down, they'll record it, they'll then take it into the platform, and then they'll be able to add in stop points, they'll be able to add in interactivity to it, they can add in 3D models into it as well, so you can have the blended version of 360 media as well as 3D models that can come in together. And that kind of allows them to have the flexibility on how would they want to deliver it. For students to engage with this, it's not just from just a standpoint of I'll click on a hotspot and then read something and then I continue. You can make it engaging for them to add in their own content into it or add in their own responses to it. So that, again, as I explained before, you can have it where a student will answer the question that you might have posed to them, and then that has been fed back to the data mode then, because you can then review how they've done it.
Yeah, and when you're using when you're recording 360, what kind of resolution or cameras are people using that works with the platform? I assume you can handle 4K. Can it deal with 8K?
So the platform can definitely handle 8K. The only instance, the only time that 8K is being used is when it's being used on the immersive walls. The reason being is because there isn't an engine really out there that everybody has a day-to-day which can handle 8K or even to a point 4K. Again, devices every day is developing and going on, but to a lot of like the Dell laptops that institutions have got and invested in, their screens and monitors don't handle 4K or 8K, because obviously immersive walls have the huge projectors that can handle that high resolution. That we do see a lot of institutions that will record simulations differently for their immersive walls to then if they're recording it for the other devices as well.
Okay, maybe the hardest question of today. How much does it cost?
So we have got a tiered pricing model. When you compare us to a lot of competitors, um, we are very, very competitive on that side of things. So you can start off with a standard tier, which can give you a set amount of users, so set amount of active users, so active students. So it means that you don't have to just have it for just these set students, and a set amount of creators. And then it unlocks features as you go up the tiers. So the immersive wall tier is kind of on our premium and enterprise mode, whereas our standard mode doesn't include the immersive wall side of it, but we are obviously a lot more affordable when it goes up the tiers. Enterprise is more of like talk to us. Our premium tier is more of the £7,500 a year, and you can get up to sort of 10 creators, and you can get up to 5,000 students on that one. And then standard tier, we go a little bit lower, because depending on how many students you want, depending on how many creators you want, people like to start off with a standard tier, of which then we're down at the 4,000 a year mark on that one. And then that one can give you up to 5 creators and 300 students on that one. So there is a bit of a jump between standard and premium, but that's because we do know and see that students and creators will want to have a little play with the platform first, see what it's like, invest in it, and then off they go.
And what kind of support do you give to people if people have got problems and training, those kind of things?
We've got a full-on tech support that is essentially 24/7. We have a WhatsApp group that essentially, if we all have WhatsApp integration with our customers, so that any issues and they need to report anything, they will message us. We will get to our best endeavors, everything's sorted within the 24-hour window that we give people, depending on the issue or the problem that arises. In terms of the training, training is included in each and every one of the packaging that we offer. With that, which we've had with many customers, if there is a case where they want to have a call with us and they just want to jump on a Teams call or anything like that, they can just contact one of the team members. They can just jump on for 10 minutes, take them through a particular feature that they might be a bit worried about or they might be a bit confused about. We then come in and we can sort of provide that training. We do also do webinar training as well. So we do a lot of webinars. So going through new feature releases as well as recapping over old features as well.
Are you purely software, or do you sell a bit of hardware as well? Do you sell anything like VR headsets or like that along with your device software?
So we're purely software side. With the VR headsets, again, because we're device agnostic, we try to be as unbiased as possible in that side of things. We do have a partnership with, for example, HTC, who, again, we can get special discounts for if they would like to go through us to purchase particular devices. Having said that, again, because we're quite device agnostic and VR headsets, there's quite a number of different VR headsets out on the market. We want to ensure that the customer is satisfied with whatever one they want to go with, so we don't tend to get involved in that device department of it.
All right, and we're coming up to the end here, George. Where do you see the company going in a few years? Have you got anything interesting working in the pipelines?
Yeah, so as I said, we've got a 3D creator mode that we're going to be deploying out very shortly and very soon. We've been collaborating with a number of universities on this side of things, which will essentially, as I said, be I think there's a clinician who that I'm going to name out here, which I hope she doesn't mind. But she's from Nottingham. I won't name her actually, but she's from Nottingham. Very big in this space in terms of how enthusiastic. My colleague Robin, he went up to see her to try it on the immersive walls and to demonstrate something out of her own back. She just put on LinkedIn about basically what VRTUS is doing and how we're offering is completely different to what is on the market at the moment from a 3D and a 360 perspective. You can have like the best of both worlds on that side of things. I think for our future at the moment, what's really exciting is we've just started to deploy out more into Australia and in the US as well. So we'll be obviously building more customer base, which then enabled us to be a bit more innovative. The side of it, which is our partnerships that we have with like Generate, for example, that side and how we're developing further with our partners with Generate, with them in the market. They're very different in what they do. They're very special. Compared to other providers that we've seen. So that's why, with our partnership, they have a very, very good customer service based model that we wanted.
Big up the Generate team. Yeah, we've had them on before. A great set of lads. Massive respect for them. They've got a great reputation, especially within the tech community. I mean, it was only the other day we was talking about them. So if you're listening, guys, keep up the good work. George, if people want to get hold of you or want to learn more about you, how can they get hold of you?
They can either visit our website, which is virtustech.co.uk. We can also contact me on LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn profile as well that you can reach out to me, or you can email us directly at info@virtustech.co.uk, and then either myself or one of the team members will pick it up and engage.
One last question before we go. Do you do demos or trial runs or anything like that?
Yes. So we do demos. We do a trial run for up to 2 to 3 weeks. We understand obviously people's time is quite scarce at times, so that can be extended up to a month if needs be. But we do trials.
Brilliant. All right, George. Well, thank you for coming along today. It's been great learning about yourself and VRTUS. It's great to have especially a British company coming on and talking to us for a change. Big up VRTUS Tech. Well, George, thank you very much, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Craig. Cheers. Appreciate it.
And that wraps up another episode of the Steam Tech podcast. A huge thanks you to George from VRTUS Tech for joining me today and sharing his insights into how VR is transforming healthcare simulation. It's always exciting to see how emerging technology is shaping the way we train, learn, and save patients. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out in the future conversations with innovators and experts driving simulation forward. If you have any thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future guests, feel free to reach out. Thanks for listening, and next time I'll catch you on the SimTech podcast.